Welcome to Mastery Podcast, where story unlock the secrets of an empowered and abundant life. We have with us today, Derrick Calvert, and I am your host, Dr. Sash. Derrick's passion is to support people and organizations and to empower them to reach their full potential. His calling is to advocate for safe psychological ecosystem, bridging cultures and fostering collective growth. Derrick's journey unites humanity in a divided world. Welcome, Derrick, to Mastery Podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. And let me ask you this. The first question, what's the impact on an organization if it does not have a safe psychological ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think in order to answer that, what we need to do is really think about what happens to an individual when they don't feel safe, right? So what happens is when an individual doesn't feel safe, they can't be their best self, right? So the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical decision-making part of our brain, it just kind of shuts down. And so all of our decisions are kind of ruled by emotion, right? So for example, if I go into an organization, if I'm at work, right? And my boss says, hey, Derrick, I need you to run this errand, right? I know that the errand is going to take me 3 hours, but I'm not going to tell my boss that it's going to take me 3 hours. And I'm just going to go and do it. But I've wasted so much time because I don't feel safe enough to tell my boss, hey, this is going to take a really long time and I'm not going to be back by the time you expect me to. The other thing is when an organization doesn't have, when it doesn't have a safe psychological ecosystem, people leave, right? And what's so important for organizations to understand is when people leave, it's super expensive to try to go out and get more talent, to retrain, bring in another person's organization. It takes manpower. It takes time. It takes additional monies. So it's super, super expensive to do. And a couple of the main reasons people leave jobs is they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, and they don't feel safe. So if we can make people feel seen, feel heard, feel safe, feel valued, right, we would retain a lot more talent, which again keeps money in the pockets of the organization.
Nice. Beautifully explained. And how do organizations that have safe psychological ecosystem communicate?
Yeah, that is, that's a big one, right?
Yeah.
A safe psychological ecosystem allows me to communicate freely, right? What the research says is that organizations who have safe psychological ecosystems, they have more reporting of mistakes. Right. That doesn't mean that more mistakes are made, but they report them more, which means that now I can make less mistakes in the future. If an organization doesn't have that safety net, what I call it, then as an employee, I'm not going to report that mistake, right? And that's going to cost the organization more money, right? Or it's going to cost us more time or whatever the case may be. So the communication is open. It doesn't mean that we're all super nice to each other and, people don't make mistakes. And it means that the communication is open and I can tell you, hey, this is something that happened. We probably need to go through and fix this. And it can be done in a timely manner as opposed to the opposite, right? If I can't tell you that I made a mistake, then that mistake can't get fixed. And so more and more mistakes are made down the line.
Beautifully said. And I think that goes into every business, right? In the healthcare, where I came from, if mistake doesn't get reported and more mistakes are made, lives can get hurt.
Absolutely.
And people can get hurt. And this goes with every organization, right? If it's not lives, and then it could be the product that you are creating, the product that could be in like the safety, they could be in the car business, and it's that one thing, right, that can help make your car safe. And if you don't report it, then something happens, and then recalls.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story about a client that I was dealing with. They were in a meeting and there was a newcomer, into the organization. And so there was a discussion where they were talking about how to make something more efficient. And so the newcomer was very quiet, very reserved. This person, in having conversations with them, didn't yet feel as if they belonged, but they saw the issue in the problem that was trying to be solved. So to make a long story short, the problem never got solved. It cost the organization thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds and hundreds of hours of manpower to fix it. And so when the manager went to the employees, said, "Hey, why didn't you speak up?" The employee said, I didn't feel like I had the space to do so. I didn't feel like I would be listened to. I didn't feel like I belong here. But had they been able to speak up, it would have changed a lot, right? Made the organization more efficient, made them more money, kept more manpower, kept people from working, maybe later into the night. So, just that one instance, right, just changed the entire dynamic of the work environment as a whole.
Right. That makes so much sense. And now what can those organizations do today to ensure that they have the safe psychological space environment where people feel safe to speak up.
Yeah.
People feel safe to say, "Hey, I make that mistake. I kind of know the reason why."
Yeah.
And can we fix it?
Yeah. I give organizations two big things, right? Very, very simple things. One, just be able to listen, right? When an employee or someone comes to you, whether it's an innovative idea, whether it's an issue, whether it's, just to bend the ear, listen, not to respond, but actually listen to what they're saying, right? That way, that person feels heard, that person feels seen, and they understand that, you know what? Somebody sees me for the person I am. The second thing that I always encourage people to do is to form affinity groups, right? Which are groups with a collective purpose. They might have, collective ideas that they like to share, and really just kind of go in and allow people to voice where they are. I was reading a book the other day, and the book said that the number one thing that a CEO is afraid of is that his or her people are not telling them the truth. Right. And in those affinity groups, the voices of the employees or whomever is involved, they're heard. Right. And they're safe spaces. And now I know the truth, and now I can make plans and do whatever I need to do to make the environment or the product or the people better.
Right. That makes so much sense. And when you are the owner of an organization, or you're the CEO, and you make decision, right, based on the information that you have. Mm-hmm. And if the information is missing mm-hmm. or is just false, then your decision is kind of misaligned with what you want to do. And it's great what you're doing. And you mentioned introducing the idea of creating affinity group. What's another action that organization can take to increase the safety?
Yeah. One of the things I love doing is anonymous surveys, right? The surveys are anonymous, so the people filling them out, they feel safe. There's no reason to kind of hold back. It's like I can say whatever I need to say, and there's no retribution, or somebody's going to come back and say, well, you said this, and, now you can't be here, or whatever the case may be. Now, the issue with the surveys, not the issues, the opportunity that we have with the surveys are not giving the surveys, right, mm-hmm. and then getting the data back. The opportunity we have is, what do we do with the data once we get it back? Mm-hmm. That's how we start to build trust in our employees, right? I've gotten the data back. I'm communicating with my team, with my organization. Hey, I've heard what you said. These are the main points we got from the survey. How can we work together to make this better, to make us more efficient? How can we work together to have a better work-life balance for you all? How can we make it better so that you feel fulfilled when you leave? So the issue oftentimes is not giving the survey. It's, again, what we do with the data. If we give it and we don't do anything with the data, then we lose trust, which again creates an unsafe psychological ecosystem.
Right. Talking about trust, I know I'm one of those employees with another survey. They're not going to do anything with it. So like literally I was at this organization and I went on for years and I didn't fill out any surveys because I feel like they didn't do anything with it. They just did it just because it's an annual survey.
Right.
Right. And what do you do to encourage those organizations to take actions from the information that they get?
Yeah. So in order for us to take action, I have to, organizations always are looking at the bottom line, right? How does this make me money? How might this lose money? How does this help my customers or my consumers or whatever the case may be? So I'll always have to take it from that perspective. If we don't honor the things that are in the survey, we're going to lose employees, right? They're going to lose the will to work as hard as they can, which not only impacts the employee, it now impacts the organization as a whole, which now impacts our consumers, which impacts the revenue, which then impacts, now my people may not have jobs, right? Just because I didn't make the effort to make my environment or my ecosystem safe. So it's super, super important. Having a safe psychological ecosystem is not a choice at this point. It's
a must.
It's a must.
Yeah,
absolutely. And if we don't have it, our organizations aren't healthy. We are doing a huge disservice to not only our employees, but our consumers as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully said. Let me ask you this one last question, Derrick. If an organization wants to go further, right, into creating a safe psychological environment and a positive employee experience, what are the things they can implement immediately?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, your organization much better than I do, right? So it's really, again, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I'm listening, right? Not listening to respond, but I'm actually listening to get feedback, right? I'm creating that culture of feedback. There are, however, sometimes where there needs to be an outside person, an objective person to come in and actually listen and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing, or this is what I'm seeing, or whatever the case may be. It's super hard to be very close to a situation and not get emotional when something's not going the way that we think it should, especially if I'm a CEO or I'm an entrepreneur. I built this organization, right? I might take it more personally if somebody says, well, I don't feel safe. Oh, what did I do to now it's, I'm blaming the other person. Like, why don't you feel safe? I do everything, or I do this and I do that. And so sometimes that's why it takes an outside person, whether that's me or whether that's anyone else who does this work. The important thing is that our environments and our ecosystems, our employees, they feel safe. They feel they feel like they can bring their full selves to work so they can meet their full potential.
Nice. Thanks for that advice, Derrick. And where can people find you? Where can organizations find you if they want your support?
Yeah, absolutely. They can find me on all social media. They can find me via emails, Derrick Calvert at empower52.com, on Instagram and Twitter, empower_52. I am super, super excited and love supporting organizations in reaching their goals. In having them be having their employees feel safe. That way, those goals can be met and that bottom line doesn't suffer.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Derrick, for being here. This is Derrick Calvert, Thank you so much. And you are all about empowering and psychologically safe work environment. Thank you for your time here today, Derrick. And thank you, our listener. And we hope that the message that you receive from us today is empowering in a great way. And stay tuned. And there's more to come. Thank you.
Thank you.